Good evening and welcome to episode 19 of the Unhinged Dads podcast. The month of June was kind of screwy for us, given that we started with me on vacation and we ran into technical difficulties attempting to run a stream with Dr. Nick. Once I had things set up on our end, suddenly Dave couldn't hear us and we couldn't figure it out. And by half an hour past the time we were supposed to go live, we said to hell with it. And then, Dave, what did you get to do?
It has been my privilege to move back into an active construction site. But, the upside is I'm not paying a mortgage and rent. That's happy making.
Yes. And you now have an office to do this from that's not in the living room ish.
Well, yes, kind of
ish. Okay.
Yeah, I am actually in the living room right now. I'm in front of construction material. The blurred white background right now is sheets of plywood and drywall. I've got boxes. Yeah, right. I've got boxes of flooring. It's great stuff. We're doing a sort of a cherry stain on the LVP. So, it's better than the crappy gray stuff that we had. And I'm low enough to the floor here that my dog can stick her snout in to give her opinion on things. Insist on attention. But it's we've been working on everything since then. The moving in process continues to be a real pain because there's nowhere to put anything, or there's only places to put things and not actually places where things need to live. For example, my range and oven are about 6 feet away from me in the living room here because it was a convenient place to put them down, and we haven't gotten the lower cabinets fully installed yet. So
which means there's no countertops.
No countertops. I have an induction wok and a single burner induction hob for actually cooking things. Oh. Come here, sir. Come here, sir. Oh, yes. But
and there's the baby.
I have my children are here. Yes.
Hi, buddy.
I know there's a bright light up there, so people can actually see my face. Very excited. He will voice his opinion. Bye-bye.
On everything.
No.
You must bye-bye.
Okay, well, you should not have brought him out here. Yeah, I feel that way too, kid.
It's just not socially appropriate for you to express it in that way.
My son is quite expressive. At volume.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been crazy. We've got a semi-livable space going on, but hey, we got a water heater, we have a sink, we have a functioning bathroom, and we've got the washer and the dryer. So we have ways to cook things, even if they're awkward and uncomfortable. So we're making things happen. It's just, at the speed of molasses.
At the speed of trying to do work with 3 active and inquisitive and needy children in the house at the same time. And a dog who loves you so much she has to get in the way.
Yes. It's nice that I can just kick her out the back door and she can run around the backyard, though. That's
an improvement.
Yeah.
That's a definite improvement. And you have a higher bandwidth internet connection that isn't maintained by the United States Air Force.
I do. It's exciting. I have fiber. It is
hopefully
a blessing. Yeah. I mean, technology is one of those curious beasts where everything should work but doesn't, or none of this should work but it's perfect because we sacrificed a chicken and cooked the meat from its bones and interred those and into a steel box that we bolted to the side of the radar.
I've heard of that being done more than once.
Yeah.
And in at least one case, the chicken was actually cooked by the radar.
Yeah, that checks out. That is the kind of weirdness that technology actually seems to respond to in a statistical number of cases, which engineers go, yeah, and then don't want to talk about it.
You've pleased the machine spirit. Just leave it at that.
Yes.
It's one of the few things where Warhammer got things absolutely right.
Yeah, spot on. It's concerningly so. Yeah. No one knows why this is working, but we're going to keep doing it because it's working.
We are going to continue the ritual because then the machine works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the human brain that way. I ingest my bean juice because it works.
And the Prozac.
Yeah, and the Prozac.
Because it helps.
Yep.
And the lovely espresso stout that I brought back from my sojourn in Oregon.
Yeah.
Because it's
nice. They do a lot of interesting things up there. The Voodoo Donut series of beers has always been an experience.
I did not see those.
They're typically hard to find. I haven't seen one in a hot minute, but they were kind of hard to find, and it was something like maple bacon stout or porter or ale or something like that, and you take a drink and you're like, you take a drink of it and you're like, well, that is okay, that's I can't tell. I can tell what it is, but I can't tell if I like it or not.
See, I don't have the second part of that with this one, which is from Cascade Lakes Brewing, a salted caramel porter, which is also really good. I may have bought a couple 6-packs of it.
Nice. Yeah, we have. I've mentioned Martin House Brewing before from Austin, and they do a bunch of good stuff. The one I've got of theirs that I just picked up is their Queen de Menthe, and it's basically a Girl Scout cookie thin mint imperial stout. So it's like 10 point something % and chocolate and mint and heavy roasty. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's definitely a dessert beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we found a good tap house in Seaside that stocked a whole bunch of beer. That's where we ended up.
Nice.
Multiple times. I brought home. I think I brought home more volume in beer than we did with cheese from the Tillamook Creamery. Although it was pretty damn close.
Did you get to go take the Tillamook tour? Did you get that far?
No, we just did the self-guided tour, and then the children, particularly the teenagers and my wife, went nuts in the gift shop, finding all the specialty cheese. And I'm not complaining. I love cheese. I also love beer and cider.
Yeah. The you mentioned cider. The craft cider scene in Washington has exploded in the last roughly decade or so. When we lived up in that part of the country before moving down to Texas, and it was frankly kind of astonishing most of the bistro pubs and the brew houses and ale houses had about as many ciders on tap, and not just, hey, you got your sweet cider and you got your dry cider, but it's the Loganberry cider with the specialty yeast strains that make it really nifty, and if you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yes, but some people claim that they can. I do have a cider. We have a black raspberry cider from Tremolo Cider Company in Bend.
I want some black raspberries. I wonder if we could get some of those to grow around here.
I
know.
I think that they need mostly shade, but I'm not the plant person in my family. I have a black thumb.
Well, I tend, if I can remember to water them, I tend to keep plants alive pretty consistently. I know some plant people that I will ask, and I know there are some issues with the soil around here.
It's too alkaline, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly alkaline. We have. Have you heard of caliche?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a formation, and if you hit it, if you're digging in a place in soil rich with caliche deposits, and you hit some, you'll think it's concrete, that somebody has left chunks of cement in your dirt. And it was just nature who was a mother.
Yeah. She could be a real bitch.
Yeah. Which is why most of the people who garden around here do it in containers, either just raised containers or pots.
Yeah, and then you also have mesquite to contend with. Make some good out of it. Make charcoal out of it.
Yep.
It's about the only thing it's good for.
Mesquite is great for charcoal. You can light a forge with it, or you could smoke meats with it, or cheeses. Yep. You can smoke a lot of cheese with mesquite too.
Yeah, you need to be set up for cold smoking, which is really what you need to make your own bacon too. So
yeah, which if you're going to do that, you really should just try to do that in winter, because we're up to about triple digits at this point.
Yeah,
which is not my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, we've been bouncing around the mid 90s for the most part. Although this week things cooled off weirdly, and tomorrow heats back up. So tomorrow morning, I'm taking the morning off and I'm going fishing, because the warm up after a couple of days of cooler weather should have the bass and pike in Utah Lake being very active.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm getting up at 4:45 to drive down there and fish the new Provo River Delta that was reconstructed over the last 5 or 6 years.
Very cool.
And yeah, that's one of the things I'm doing this summer. Is every week I am at least taking a couple of hours and I'm going fishing. Unfortunately, most of my kids are not interested. I've made them go in the past to try and see if anybody really had lasting interest. My oldest daughter is the only one, and she works full time and doesn't live here anymore. So,
right.
But mostly I go by myself. But it's one of those things that trying to give my kids an example of it's okay to do things because you enjoy them, and you don't have to do everything together.
So we have the kids in some various programs this summer where they are not in the house, and they're all at the church for some time on Monday and Wednesday morning, and gosh darn if that period isn't shockingly quiet.
Yeah.
And I mentioned feeling slightly guilty about not getting much done, and then proceeded to list off the 5 or 6 things that I'd managed that morning while they were gone. And my wife said, you need to take some of that time for yourself. And I said, well, but I feel guilty about not doing things for that to get the house livable. And she's like, no. Take some time to be Dave, to do something that you might enjoy simply the doing thereof. And I kind of went,
What's that?
Your mouth is moving, and I think I recognize a couple words, but I'm not sure it's English or not.
Yeah, I don't recognize the sequence of words.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fall into that trap of everything I do must be productive, must be able to have a value assigned to it, and the notion of self-care kind of drops by the wayside a lot. Which is actually one of the things that we talked about a bit on last episode. Well, you weren't here when I interviewed Mallory in the UK.
Yeah.
He's an author. He's one of the contributors to the Raconteur Press Boys Adventure books and a couple of their anthologies. Mm-hmm. Has written, like, in the last 3 years, has written like 5 or 6 5 to 8 book series. He's prolific. He actually started on Royal Road.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to sit down, because the reason that was going on is because we took a trip to Libertycon in Chattanooga, 2 solid days of driving there, 4 days of partying basically, and then 2 days back and several days of not really being particularly functional, also known as convention hangover.
Yeah.
And that is, I was actually there with most of the rest of the Raconteur Press folks. Ian was there, and I'm actually talking to Chris Denote about the boys' adventure stuff, and we're going to try to get him on.
Yeah, I've got him scheduled for the show on, let me double check the calendar. It's weird. We're slowly turning more professional. We've got a production schedule now.
That's horrifying.
Chris will be on the 23rd.
Okay.
So that is 3 weeks from now.
Does Chris know he'll be on the 23rd?
Yeah, I set this up with him yesterday. Sweet. He messaged me, and I said, okay, well, here's what we normally do. Can that work with your schedule? He was like, well, I can't do the 16th. I can do the 23rd.
Brilliant.
Like, okay. I will shoot you a link and stuff the day before. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably bug you for a little more info for me to generate the episode promo stuff.
Yep. The What's New in Rack Press panel roadshow, basically, kind of thing they had was a lot of fun, in part because Ian was forced to hold a microphone in front of his face for an hour and speak extemporaneously without telling an absurd number of stories. And so for anybody who knows Ian, it was, akin to torture for him, which is entertaining for us.
Yes.
But the guys were all wearing, I think Jonna put together the altered boonie caps into tricorns.
I can see her doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently they refused to give those back. And
good for them.
Yep. But they're doing an absurd number of things as usual. So we'll look forward to hearing from Chris when he comes on and seeing all the great things that are happening at Raconteur Press.
Yeah, one of the things that Mallory mentioned was that about 120 years ago there was a shift in perception of men's reading. Through the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries, reading was very much a masculine activity. Having books was an essential, even if it was only the family Bible and a copy of Blackstone and a couple of others.
Blackstone, yeah.
I picked that up from Louis L'Amour books as a kid.
Dude, Blackstone is basically commentaries on English law, common law. Is functionally where American jurisprudence comes from.
Yep.
And it's if you're bent in that direction, it can be some amazing reading. I read through some of that for social and political philosophy back in El Day, these 20 mumbledy years ago.
Yeah.
But Blackstone is solid stuff.
Yeah. But that was the thing. reading was primarily a male pastime.
Mm-hmm.
And as books became more and more ubiquitous and as fiction became more and more available, the perception shifted to, especially when it comes to reading fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you have something more productive to be doing?
Yeah.
Don't you have something that is more meaningful than reading trashy novels? And thus, the societal image shifted to women being the primary consumers of fiction, and that men had better things to do with their time than to fritter it away reading Conan stories.
I don't know. You can learn a lot reading fiction, especially fantastic fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because the audience is sufficiently tism-y to write scathing reviews and notes to authors who don't do their homework and get pieces wrong, or who just decide, I want this flavor for this thing. Yes, but anybody who would do that is terrible because reason. It's like, those are all good reasons, but they're not my reasons.
Yeah. So that was one of the things, because Mallory, in addition to being an author, is also in his third year of a PhD program, where he is the only person he's been able to find doing any scholarly research on the reading habits of men and boys. It was a fascinating discussion, and I want to find a reason to bring him back on the show in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe after he's published his thesis. I don't know. But no, it was a great interview right up to about the last 20 minutes where I talked too much.
Well, these things happen.
But no, I mean, I've got a couple more clips from that episode to produce and put out. They've actually been performing pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, I really wish you could have been there, because I think you'd been a valuable addition. But you were doing dad stuff.
Yep. I was doing dad stuff, and I was alternately doing Dave stuff. The kids had a great time at the convention.
That's because they're spoiled by 70 aunts and uncles for the entirety of the weekend.
Well, and it's not just that. That does help. But my daughter hung out in the craft room a lot. And I then got very complimentary comments from the folks she'd interacted with. Part of it is just, my kids are interesting. Like they're and can carry on
genuinely with adults.
Yeah. My eldest got rave reviews from his time in the game room, including the after hours portion, playing. It's going to sound slightly bad, more mature themed, but it's things like, Werewolf or Blood on the Clock Tower, where they're the party games that 12-year-olds are usually a little bit too 12-year-old to play.
Yeah.
With a bunch of young adult types.
Oh. I was not paying attention to the chat window. Fortunately, I did. But our most frequent commenter on YouTube, Harriman7727, is all I know about him. But he said hi and says he doesn't think that I talked too much in that interview. Well, my friend, I appreciate that. I am, of course, my own very harshest critic.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that we really appreciate you interacting with our videos and stuff, and we're super happy that you're finding something useful and even entertaining out of it.
Oh, so, yeah.
Thank you to our I think we can call him our first legitimate fan.
Brilliant.
because
Never had those before.
he's commented on just about every single full episode we posted.
I don't think I've had any fans that I didn't have to produce myself.
Really? We're going there?
Yeah, my children think I'm pretty great.
That's not the direction I was half expecting there, but good job, Dave. Shit. Before we go into more rambling over the last couple of weeks, 5 weeks actually, since we were together in studio, we need to hit the questions 3. So Dave.
Yes, sir.
I guess this encompasses the last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing to improve yourself as a person, a husband, and a dad?
Goodness. I have been working very hard to take criticism, to take that momentary pause during an uncomfortable conversation and say, how legit is this? Because there's a good chance, especially when, I'm having a slightly fraught conversation with my wife, and she says, well, but this, and she's got a pretty good perspective. She has watched me from a pretty close vantage for a while, and to take that time and say, okay, am I really, like, emotions are strong, and acting from a place of emotion has a certain amount of rhetorical weight in a conversation, but often it doesn't seem to actually reflect reality particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been working on not coming out of a place of emotion when I am in a fraught discussion, or, for example, my elder 2 children have decided to do that for themselves, to come out of a place of emotion because they're 12 and 10.
Because they have developing brains. And they're moving into that period of biological insanity. And not meeting their emotional output with my own emotional output often results in better outcomes. Yep. That it does.
And when your house and your life are in chaos, reducing that as much as you can is going to be a thing that you probably want to give a little more weight to.
Yep.
In your deliberations.
Yeah, we've had some interesting discussions with one of my daughters recently. We're trying to work out some kind of long-standing issues, and she's well, her peers call her a crash out. She's prone to rather dramatic, loud outbursts of emotion, and she was apologizing for being too emotional. And I said, look, you're the child in this relationship. You're the one whose frontal lobe is still about 8 years away from full development.
Yeah.
It is expected. It is normal. Yes, I will admit it's frustrating in the moment, and I kind of go, God, I don't want to deal with this right now. But again, you are the person whose brain is still undergoing serious development. And I am the parent in this relationship. It is my job to be rational when you're being emotional, and to understand how to positively interact with you in that emotional state, and how to make sure that we're properly addressing things when you are in a state to be rational.
Yep.
Like, I don't love it, but this is reality, and it's okay. You are allowed to be human, child.
Trying to figure out how to let my daughter get to the point where the emotional wave has receded slightly and she can actually have a conversation at any level. It's a work in progress.
It will be a work in progress for the next 15 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough at points and very frustrating. And we're all going to be better people for sticking to the effort of making things work better rather than
wallowing in our dysfunction.
Yeah. Or exploding and saying things that are just frankly unforgivable.
Yes.
Or just wildly inappropriate.
I've done both of those.
Yeah.
Sometimes feels good in the moment to unleash, and then you realize that you were being a complete shitheel, and now you have to go and apologize.
Yep.
And then you have to try and do better and not do that again.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yep.
Okay, so for me, there are two things that we've been working on as we've come into summer vacation.
Mm-hmm.
One of those is I am making a more concerted and intentional effort at passing on my rather expansive skill set.
Yeah.
Because I am currently in the process of finishing out the last 2 rooms in our basement, framing, electrical, drywall, and stuff. And I've tried to involve my kids in this stuff by saying, "Hey, would you like to?" And they're like, "No."
No. That sounds like work, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, they don't want to do work.
Completely reasonable from the perspective of a 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old.
And
they're like,
given the option, would you rather be framing, finishing out a couple of rooms, or would you rather be
watching TV?
Watching or fishing?
They'd probably rather be working with me than fishing, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, but you, given the opportunity, like all other things being equal, I would rather do the things that I want to do than finishing out the parts of my house that are non-functional as yet.
Yep. Well, we've got more comments. I'm waiting on one, but this one's relevant. So it's a minimum of 8-ish years if they're 10 or 12. Some studies show brains finish developing between 26 and 30. By about 20, they should be able to adult reasonably well.
There's a reason that male insurance, auto insurance, drops like a rock at 25.
It does for females too.
Mm-hmm.
You would not believe what USAA quoted me to add my 2 16-year-old daughters onto our auto insurance.
Pain.
USAA wanted to take our premium from $2,200 every 6 months to almost $9,000. We told them to go pound rocks.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're still paying way too much, but we're paying far less than half that. Where my other best friend is child and adolescent psychiatrist, my wife is generally they say that the prefrontal cortex finishes developing around age 25.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of use. That's what I kind of use as the benchmark. But there is, of course, differences between individuals. And yes, USAA auto insurance, by the way, has become awful because they've outsourced it.
They have.
Depending on the region you're in, it can be great. It can be awful. In Utah, it's fucking awful. I'm still fighting them over.
We've had pretty good experiences with USAA throughout, but it's a thing we're paying pretty close attention to.
Yeah, it seems to vary region by region based on who they outsourced it out to. I'm still fighting them over a not at fault accident from 2 years ago that they still owe me about $5,000 for. And I'm still trying to, and I've got to go talk with a lawyer because when they were unable to recover some of the repair amount of my vehicle from the driver at fault, because he had insurance through Tesla, who, by the way, their insurance division is awful. They changed my not at fault accident to at fault accident and doubled my insurance premiums with my new insurer. That's fraud.
Yeah.
But it's also not fraud that anybody's willing to prosecute. So I've got to go through the civil process to try and get that fixed. And then attempt to recover what eventually total amount's going to be like $10,000 that they should be paying out to me, but they probably won't.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been bad. But anyways, so this whole extensive skill set from, automotive repair to literally every phase of construction,
mm-hmm.
to the fine woodworking. As I'm working on stuff, most days I grab a kid and say, "Hey, you're my assistant today."
Right.
It's just, this is your day. They usually get one day, sometimes 2 days in a week, where they will work with me for 5 to 8 hours. And we're framing today, so you're going to learn how to cut and measure lumber and how this nails together, and I'm going to explain to you why we're doing this. Or, hey, we're pulling wire today. You're going to pull wire. I'm going to teach you how to wire up outlets. I'm going to teach you how to do it correctly so that a failure in a single fixture doesn't kill the rest of the circuit.
It's not hard.
I had one today helping me hang drywall.
That's less easy.
Well, I do focus it towards the abilities of which kid is based on what I pick out. So I picked the biggest and oldest one. You're going to help me hang drywall today. And he's like, "Do I have to?" I said, "Yes." Okay. Yeah. Because last summer I wasn't doing much because I was recovering from abdominal wall reconstruction. So I I wasn't allowed to do much. I sat around, played video games a lot for most of the summer. So that's what my boys did. I don't love that. It's not good for them.
No, it's not great for you. It's not good for them.
And my daughters have always had a varied set of interests. I've never had to worry about them just doing one thing all the time. My boys are very happy to sit and play video games and watch TV all day, every day. So they have to get pulled out of it. So they are learning things. They are learning to do work. And I'll get one of them goes, "Oh, but my neck hurts. I slept weird. I can't move my head now." I go, "Oh, well, gee, we're going to be moving stuff around all day. And you know what the best thing is for that? Because that's just a thing that happens. It's movement, increasing the blood flow to that area. It'll loosen up." Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
And then we go and we do that. So we're doing that. And I'm including my daughters. I'm including my daughters in this too, where they have availability of, "Hey, you're helping me today. We're gonna get the one car to pass emissions. So you want to be a diesel tech? Guess what? You're helping me today. We're doing fuel injectors, plugs and coils, oxygen sensors, and catalytic converters today." She's like, "Okay."
And frankly, in the last couple of years, I have gotten to pull spark plugs and replace those in ignition coils. I've gotten to fiddle with the oil here and there. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that I have gotten to do on various vehicles. And it would have been nice if I had known any of that before I was in my 40s.
Yeah. Or, had at least some passing familiarity. So that's one of the things. I'm a good mechanic. I'm a pretty good woodworker. Yep. I'm pretty capable in most of the construction disciplines, from plumbing to electrical, drywall, framing, engineering. I can do concrete. I hate concrete. Finished carpentry, all that stuff. I can do it.
The reality is that most of those things are easy enough to do. It just is a matter of getting past I don't know how to do it.
And I don't have the tools for it.
And or I haven't done it before. Well, once you've done it once, almost all of that is relatively easy to do again.
Yeah, I mean, my goal is to get them to the point when they're living independently, they can at least deal with a leaky faucet or a leaky P-trap or a malfunctioning outlet, or patch holes in the drywall, or be okay with pulling off a piece of baseboard and replacing it, just to be able to do basic stuff. I don't necessarily expect them to ever get to my skill level because I've been doing so much of this for so long. But I want to impart some of that knowledge to them and make sure that, so I'm being very intentional about that. And the other thing that we're being very intentional about, which if you're keeping up, you think you're up to 6 shots already? Every time we say intentional, take a drink. But the other thing I'm doing is physical activity. I get up at 6:30 and I go work out, and then I go wake up my boys and say, okay guys, time to do a workout. We've got I figured out a way to get the heavy bag mounted, and so they can go and they can beat on the punching bag for 1-minute sprints to do their cardio if they don't want to go out in the morning and take a dog for at least a 1-mile walk. Some of them choose one thing, some of them choose the other. Some of them, they vary from day to day, depending on how hot it is already at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
And we've got the tonal home gym. I tried the intentional drinking game with pennies and ran out of pennies. Hey, you try to play the Unhinged Dad's drinking game. We are not responsible for the results.
Yeah. Look, there's a reason I never grab more than 2 cans of anything.
I will usually grab 3 to do an episode. Usually that's the only drinks I have in a week.
Fair.
And since coming back from vacation, I've had like 1 beer in the last 5 weeks.
I went to a convention and I didn't drink anything.
You went to Libertycon and didn't drink?
I didn't drink anything. Well, I had kids. We got real amounts of sleep, which was also kind of astonishing. Like,
that's really weird.
It is. No, that's not true. I had a beer. They had beer on tap in the con suite.
Fair.
So I had beer.
Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we all get a workout in the mornings, whether they want to or not, and they never want to. Hell, I don't want to, but I feel better after I do it. So I've been, since coming back from Oregon, I've been consistent on doing my workouts. And the other thing that we are doing is we have close to us the lovely Uinta Mountains. It's the only major mountain range in the United States that runs east to west.
You do?
And yes. And it is full of beautiful alpine lakes for trout fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And the wilderness area is riddled with trails. So just about every week, we're taking all the kids who are available, my wife and I, and we're going on a hike. We did our first one last Sunday.
Holy cow, that's like due east and west. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a geographical anomaly. It's the only mountain range in North and South America that runs east to west.
Yeah, and everything in the Americas is north south.
Yep,
everything.
But so we went and we did a little starter hike last Sunday. You start at over 9,000 feet of elevation. It's 1.5 miles out to this lake. It's 1.5 miles back. We got up there. It was 38 degrees and snowing, while it was 95 degrees down in the valley.
Wow!
But we went up there. We took all the dogs with us, and so kids got to walk the dogs, and we got to practice training stuff with the dogs because my youngest daughter is electing not to go to college. She wants to be a dog trainer and sees no value in college for that. And so she's been working a lot with our dogs on recall and stuff to where we can be up in a wilderness area where there are small animals all around, and our reservation dogs that have hunted for themselves have almost perfect recall.
Wow.
Yeah, she's done. She decided she was going to get serious on this and has learned and has worked these dogs. She's done fantastic. I got to spend about 3 or 4 hours fishing while the other kids were exploring and building a fire.
Yeah.
They didn't need my help to build a fire.
Nice.
I was expecting to have to give a clinic on how to find tinder and how to find dry wood in the middle of a snowstorm.
And they managed to do that all on their own.
They managed to do it all on their own. I was so damn proud. But we took proper preparations. My wife and my adult daughter, who came along, both had cans of bear spray. We stuck bear belts on the dogs because with the non-winter that we've had, apparently human bear interactions are way, way up this year.
Wow.
Because they came out of hibernation early. There's no forage.
Right.
And I have a Safariland chest rig for my Rock Island 10 millimeter.
I have one of those for it's not Safariland. It's something else. I have that for a 357 of mine, and it's fantastic for hunting.
Yeah. Well, we carried it where I specifically bought the 10 millimeter for bear defense in alpine regions. And I think we got some funny looks from a pair of German hikers we came across. Why does this man have this very large pistol strapped to his chest? There's nothing like this in Germany.
Yeah. You're right.
Well, you also don't have large populations of black bears and mountain lions who are very hungry.
Yeah.
In Germany.
Yes.
So
you hunted out your apex predators a few hundred years ago.
Yep. We have not.
No.
Not by a long shot. In fact, we're introducing even more. The wolves from Wyoming and Colorado are starting to make their way into Utah. The ranchers are not happy.
I would say I'm really ambivalent about that. It's arguably a very good thing for the land at large, but it's really going to make life harder on the ranchers and hikers, etc. I know that Colorado mountain dogs and similar things.
Exactly. That's European wildlife.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what's feeling.
An American wildlife badger will rip your fucking face off, and that's when it's feeling nice. That's accurate. Or if you've ever encountered Wolverine and having a bad day, holy shit.
Which is,
skunk bears are nothing to screw with.
Wow. That is just not no thank you.
Yeah.
No thank you.
Yeah, so this one was a little about 2.5 miles round trip. Granted, well, it was snowing for most of the time, and kids all had a good time. So we're gonna keep doing this, and that fills my. We're going up to the lake. I'm gonna pack and I'm gonna go fishing while you guys go explore and shit.
Yeah, we have one of the chaos pieces that has been most frustrating is we've fallen off of the regular physical activity portion of things because where the hell are we going to do it? We need to we don't have anywhere to put things up yet. So all of the cleaning supplies are on the floor in the laundry room. So keeping that door closed regularly because my junior most human will come wandering out with his arms clasped around a jug of bleach or septic granules or
bleach in one hand and ammonia in the other.
Oh God.
Let's not give him ideas, huh?
Thankfully do not have any ammonia on hand. Because I have talked to the children about that one, the older children, about why we don't mix bleach and ammonia.
I learned that from firsthand experience.
I'm not surprised, man.
Entirely on accident. I was like 8 years old.
That's amazing.
This is before I discovered the Anarchist Cookbook.
Right? I just read about World War One.
Another comment. Going back to trying to pass on skills. Such skills will pay dividends years from now. Ability and willingness to do simple repairs and fixes like cleaning the grease out of sink pipe saves tons of money in the long and short run. That it does. And hell, just being able to interact with the person you're hiring to do a job, like
Yeah.
you have some understanding of what the hell they're doing, generally gets you better outcomes because
Yeah.
you get a little more respect from the contractor and you're less likely to have them try to screw you over.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it. I'm trying to pass on my skills. I'm trying to make sure that I'm forcing kids to do stuff that is well away from screens, making sure everybody's physically active.
Yep.
And so we're running a little bit of stepdad boot camp this summer. The
Right.
kids are begrudgingly, for the most part, going along with, but they are getting the benefits.
Did you ever read the Little House on the Prairie books?
Yes, I read all of them.
Those are amazing books. One of the ones that was really iteopening, both when my mother read it out loud to my sister and I when and more recently when my kids read it at school when they were attending classes somewhere, was Farmer Boy. The sheer amount of work that Manny, the protagonist of that particular one, did on a day-to-day basis was unreal.
Oh yeah.
And you think about it, and even the kind of comments that he made in the book are, these were not the kinds of, it was pretty clear, didn't really want to do this stuff. But on the other hand, there also wasn't a whole lot else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kids at the time did not have the sheer amount of addictive pastimes. Because let's be very clear, screen time is engineered to addict.
Yes.
Even more
so if it's social media.
Yep, social media, video games. Was it Kotaku did an article? God bless. 15 years ago, was about a player, a World of Warcraft player who had basically flushed their life down the drain because that was all they did. And then they went into the science behind it. The reward cycle, the dopamine reward cycle of massively multiplayer online role-playing games is engineered to keep players playing.
Yep. It is.
And it's only been sharpened with social media because you go on X or Facebook or TikTok, and it's the exact same chemical cycle.
It is. And of course, we say that as we're trying to use all that stuff to further our reach and eventually make an income off of doing this.
Look, if you can't beat them, join them
and try to be a little bit better, maybe.
And sabotage them from the inside or something like that.
Sure, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that we're into this, question 2. Over the last 5 weeks, what's something that you have fucked up?
Oh, God bless. We still don't have that. Yeah. Time management, project management. We do not have our lower cabinets installed.
And that's been the case for like 7 weeks.
Yeah, and it's not that hard. It really isn't. We know how to do it. Life does get in the way. Loot boxes. Oh my gosh. I don't want to give us a second career. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the number of raid schedules for the world firsts or regional firsts, it's the number of sketch comedy shorts that have been made around that. You functionally, it becomes a second career. You have all the times to meet. You have so-and-so
obligation to the clan members.
So-and-so is higher on the loot list than you are, so you're not getting that best in slot gear or best in set. for another 2 months, by which time the new region will be open, the new dungeons will be open, and it won't even be best in slot at that point. Well,
yep.
What fun is that? It's not.
Yeah, oftentimes.
It just isn't.
I played WoW for about 4 months before I was just like, I have better things to do than grind.
Minus 50 DKP. God bless. That one's classic. Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, you are our generation.
For anybody who was there, minus 50 DKP. Wow.
Okay, so you've had difficulties with time management.
Oh my! I've got kids. Making sure my youngest is down for a nap is arguably way more important than making sure that I have dinner prepped at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Because
it is, because that's like his mental well-being, which translates to everybody else's ability to accomplish anything for the entire evening.
Yeah, and I'm just I have to recognize that I'm not getting anything significant done. You know what I've done today? I got about 3 weeks ago, I got a little bag of plastic stackers that push the switches, light switches forward in the sockets, because I remember when we nailed all the gang boxes to the studs, they were set so that things would work right. Well, come to find out, whoever put the drywall on didn't
do it. I hate that.
Right. There's a number of things that, like, the only good piece of this is that we didn't pay for a bunch of this stuff to get done.
Yeah, that is a positive.
It's like the 2nd, isn't it?
It is July 2nd.
I am hearing booms outside. We live outside of city limits, so there will be noisemakers going off for the next
week. Here we're not getting many because via executive order, our governor has banned all fireworks through July 7th. And that is because of the extraordinarily low snowpack winter and extreme drought conditions. We are in severe wildfire territory. So there are no recreational fireworks that are supposed to be going on anywhere in the state of Utah this week. It will only be the government and various organizations that do their own big fireworks shows that are properly supervised and certified.
Professional pyrotechnic work, I'm sure. Yeah. So I got the bag of little plastic stackers, 1/8-inch stackers.
I've used lots of them.
I'm gonna have to go back and probably get a couple more bags. But by the end of it, my switches will look good.
Yep.
And dude, Lutron makes their Caseta and Pico quasi-smart. They use a radio frequency remote on there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, those things are amazing. I highly recommend them. Best
3-way dimmers out there,
because it's a real 3-way without having to have a traveler wire. For those who are not familiar with electrical work at all, if you're going to have two switches on opposite ends of a room or a hallway or something, the old school way is you have to run a wire between them and get things, and they're finicky, and you have to get things set up right, and it's annoying. It's a real pain in the backside. With these type, you have one, and that's your power connects to that, and then the wire runs to the lights, and just like a normal light switch, and then you pair a radio frequency remote to that light switch and set it on the other side. You can put a gang box in, or you can just have they're wall plates that you can just screw right to the drywall and put that on there. And once it's paired, You've got dimming capacity. You've got remote. You can pop the remote off if you're, say, going to take a nap and lie down on the couch because you are a wise human being and got an amazingly comfortable couch, which you should do because
yes,
they are worth their weight in gold. And then you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of extra wire.
yes. And well, in my basement, there are 2 locations that have not 3-way, but 4-way switches where you have 2 traveler wires because you have 3 different switches controlling one circuit.
Yeah.
And yes, they are a pain in the ass.
And with these, you can pair something like 10 remotes.
Yep. And control a single circuit.
And you can have multiple remotes paired. You can have one remote paired to multiple switches so that you can turn on 3 or 4 rooms worth if you feel like it with one remote.
Yep. Yeah, Neutron's done some fantastic stuff, and the stuff lasts.
Yeah, it lasts. It looks solid. We're so thrilled with that because we've got pairing several remotes to the
bed, shoes, underwear, sofas, chairs are buy best and most comfortable you can because you'll be using them all. Yes, don't cheap out on your underwear or your socks or your shoes unless you absolutely have to.
I'm a huge fan of, I just got some Jim Green boots. They are South African made. For every pair purchased, they donate a pair to park rangers for conservation efforts.
Fantastic.
And they're all leather. Let me tell you how much all leather shoes reduce your chance of acquiring such pleasant things like athlete's foot. Because vegetable tanned leather, tannins, are toxic to most things. It's amazing that humans consume so many things with tannins in them. Once again, we are space orcs.
Yes, we are.
But your stinky feet in the Texas heat will not be quite so foul when you're wearing wool socks in all leather shoes.
Yep, that's true.
I am so thrilled with those shoes.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
For what I have fucked up.
Yes, sir.
In my, we've talked about this before. I kind of have an internal project schedule that I feel compelled to meet because, by God, I'm a professional and I can fucking do this. When you bring a child into the mix whom you are instructing in this skill, in spite of having a helper, things do not go faster. They go slower.
They go much slower.
And I have had to work at tempering my frustration with not meeting my internal production schedule because I am spending 50% of my time teaching an 11-year-old boy how to safely operate a skill saw to trim studs so that we can frame a wall.
Yeah.
It's like we got half done of what I expected to do today. And that's frustrating, but at the same time, my 11-year-old, all these studs for this room were cut by him, with me with an extra hand on the saw, guiding and assisting.
Oh, yeah.
But he measured, marked, and cut all the studs for this entire room.
Have you mentioned that he can literally get paid for that kind of that exact set of tasks?
He's 11. He doesn't give a shit.
That's fair. In a few more years, you can mention that, you could get paid for that, or you could spend a little more time studying and get paid for using your brain.
Yeah. Provided you pick a field that's not going to be replaced by generative AI. But, okay, so what is something that you've done well?
Oh, God bless. Honestly, it is a bunch of this stuff. It is dealing with the chaos. It's taking the time with my wife to say, okay, what have I been doing well? What have you been doing well? What have we been doing well as a couple? How are we doing with the kids? How are the kids doing? It is I've long called this surfing the chaos wave, because life is chaotic. And for some of us more so than for others.
Yes.
Our life has been unbelievably chaotic for many years at this point.
Yep.
And the more you can roll with the punches, the easier life is going to be.
Yes.
It's not necessarily fun, but it's going to be easier. And we've been rolling fairly well in the last month or so, because things have just been weird and uncomfortable, and we've been making choices. We've been choosing expediency where it has been most beneficial.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been really handy. Juicer.
Well, you actually remind me of something positive that came from my time as a Mormon missionary. Weird, you know. But according to the White Bible, there's a little, I don't know, they probably don't still do it, but we had a little white handbook of the instructions and rules for missionaries that you're supposed to carry in your chest pocket with your name tag. And one of the things you're supposed to do, because you're basically randomly assigned a companion who you live with and you preach with for a minimum of 6 weeks, generally for 3 to 5 months. And you don't necessarily click with all of these people. So you're supposed to do a weekly, they called it a companionship inventory, where basically you sit down, you talk about the week, what went well, what didn't go well, in what ways are you finding me difficult to live with and to work with, and in what ways can I improve, etc.
Sounds an awful lot like an after action report.
That's really what it is. But it's for the entire week, and it was phrased in such a way for 19-year-old boys to attempt to do this and bring something positive out of it, other than, well, I think you're a dick.
which is an acceptable place to start with, but you can't leave the process there.
But doing that in your marriage, or whatever flavor of partnership you are engaged in, learning to be able to sit down and say, hey, what went well this week? What did I do well? What didn't I do well? What would you like to see me work on? How can I be more helpful to you in achieving whatever goal, etc.?
Yeah.
For some couples like me and my current marriage, we kind of do that naturally. It's not something that we need to formalize. For some people, it's not a bad idea to formalize we are going to do this once a week or every other week or something, to make sure that you are working in sync and actually operating as a functional partnership. Because there's so much social media that is dedicated to people bitching about their marriages and etc. So much of this can be prevented by being proactive, by being intentional. Take a drink, guys. In checking in with each other and saying, hey, how are we doing? What can I work on? How can I better support you? And that is an incredibly useful thing to realize, where you may be falling short in meeting your partner's needs.
It
or
takes
you may be able to
humility.
say, I need more of, for example, take the classic, I would like more sex, please. Okay. Well, then that can be what needs to happen to enable that. And then you find that there are needs that she or he or they, we don't really discriminate here, need that will help enable that goal.
Right.
But being able to sit down with your partner and say, how can I do better? Takes an incredible amount of humility. And then hearing that feedback and not getting pissed off and defensive at it takes another whole level of humility and emotional maturity.
Yeah.
But I think that is one of the keys to maintaining a long-term functional partnership, is being able to sit down and hear, granted from the person who likes you the most, hopefully, what you can do better. or something that you fucked up during the week that made them feel in a certain way that they would like for that to not happen again.
So next year in 2027 will be our 20th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
I know.
You know what? Had my first marriage not gone the way that everybody knew it was going to go 2 years into it, and then continued to last another 10 years beyond that, this year would have been last month would have been our 20. I'm so glad it wasn't, to be perfectly frank. And that's not even casting aspersions on my ex. Just that was not a functional or healthy relationship in any way.
Yes, agreed. Having watched from a distance the last few years of that, and
it was bad.
Yeah.
It was really unhealthy in so many ways for us and for our kids. And finally coming to terms with that reality was definitely a positive step for everybody involved. Wish I'd done better.
You know, it's not something I would wish on anybody. And equally, it is the kind of thing that, with the appropriate attitude, you can grow through in some pretty astounding ways. I've watched several friends have to, and frankly, family members have to deal with that.
Yep.
With divorce and the fallout thereof, and it's not fun. But
hell, you want to know what's not fun? Is hearing your kids say, sometimes I'm jealous of the stepkids because they're all younger than me, because you're more involved now than you were when I was their age.
And you look back at your
fucking hurts.
Well, yeah. And the easy answer is, well, I was working my ass off in order to make sure that you had what you did have, but that doesn't salve any emotion.
Also, I was avoiding your mom because she made everything incredibly unpleasant.
Yeah. And neither of which are particularly emotionally satisfying for a young person who is in pain.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah. Breaking up from a bad relationship hurts. Staying in it hurts even more. Don't I know it? Yeah. The worst part for me is how so much could have been solved by simple communication. And that is the inherent problem, is that effective communication requires a certain level of maturity and humility on both parties, because it takes two to properly communicate. Yep. And if you are dealing with somebody who is not willing to consider the fact that they may have something that is willing to improve, it doesn't work.
Well, and speaking from experience, you have to know that the communication is important going into it. You have to invest the energy and the time in actually doing it early on.
Yep.
You can absolutely learn later in life. Yeah, you can absolutely learn later in life. Have a couple of amazing friends who have the kind of stories that are genuinely unbelievable. Fighting with guns, knives, and furniture, throwing through walls and things because they were both high on something at the time. And if you survive that kind
I haven't been that far, thank God.
If you survive that kind of lifestyle long enough to get sober and clean, then you then have a chance to do it right again. But it's a hell of a lot easier to do it right the first time.
It is. Been easier on my kids.
Yeah.
Been easier on me.
Yeah.
Hell, I might still be in communication with most of my family.
Well,
honestly, not family, relatives. But religious differences came up, and we don't really have relationships anymore. Sucks.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, that is the thing struggled with is not getting frustrated over my internal schedule being wrecked by teaching children things.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly not letting them see that I am experiencing a degree of frustration over that, because the last thing I want is for them to think that I'm angry because they're not helping well enough or something.
Right. Yeah. The trick there is if you can't keep it off your face to explain, again, with that communication thing, hey, I'm upset with myself here, not with you. You're doing amazing.
Yep.
You are doing exactly what I want you to be doing here, and I am thrilled with you, and I am proud of you, and this is going to pay.
I'm really happy that we are doing this together.
Yeah, and any frustration I'm feeling is a result of my own insecurities and issues that I have not yet gotten over.
Yep.
I try to have a conversation like that with my kids as seldom as possible, but more realistically,
sometimes it's necessary.
Realistically, every week or two, honestly.
Yeah.
And
for me, that's one of the biggest things is, when you screw up, is that you take ownership for it and you apologize.
Yep.
And actually, especially when dealing with kids, but in general, this applies. I classify apologies as type A and type B. Type A is, I fucked up. I did something objectively wrong, and I am sorry, and I'm going to do better. Type B is not necessarily that I did something objectively wrong, but I did something that affected you in a manner that I feel bad about.
Right.
Like, I don't think this was objectively a bad thing, but for you, what I said or how I said it or what I did obviously hurt your feelings. And I am sorry that my actions, my words hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And so I am going to work in the future to modify my communications, my actions, in order to not cause you that hurt again.
And I'll be very honest. I think that intentionality, take a drink, is a big piece of keeping your kids from getting screwed up because of your screw it up at this.
Yes. I mean, it's on one hand, it's taking ownership. On the other, it's validating that their feelings, were hurt, and that you can do better to take account how they will feel, because especially in my family, the kids have their own trauma that they've experienced. They have their own insecurities that are unique to them, and for some of them, having dad be visibly upset is hugely triggering.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, hey, I understand what I said there caused you a ton of anxiety and made you feel bad, and I'm sorry that I did something that elicited that feeling in you, and I'm gonna try to do better in the future. And if I do say something that makes you feel that way, please tell me so that I can modify my behavior.
Yeah.
Like, the class B apology is where I think a lot of people get their heads lodged up their asses, because, well, it wasn't objectively wrong. They just need to be less sensitive. You know what? Again, you're the adult in the relationship. You are responsible for the effect that your words and actions have, especially on your children, even if they were not intentional.
And frankly, if all you have to do is say, regardless of how I feel about this, you're not feeling good. I recognize that. That's my bad. I am sorry.
And I want to not do that in the future.
How hard is that? Genuinely.
For some people, it is almost impossible.
And I get that. And I genuinely get that. And I don't think it should be.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be.
No.
So, final question.
Yeah.
What did you do well?
Oh, what did I do well? Oh.
This is the hardest one for both of us.
And it is. Look, okay. I have realizing Facebook has been great about this, showing me pictures from the first Libertycon I went to 13 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? I was so skinny. It's amazing. I look so good, man.
You looked like barely 20.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. When my wife and I got married, she was 22 and I was 27.
Honestly, Mrs. Dave looked to be about 15.
I would say
you looked like you could have been a high school senior.
We both looked no more than 19. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys looked like a possible high school shotgun wedding.
Yeah. Dude, all you have to do is spend, most of your formative years in the Pacific Northwest where you never see the sun. You'll look amazing too.
You know what? Screw that. After we left the coast, we're going to get into this in the next episode because this falls directly into what I put up on Substack for it. I ended up spending an extra 3 days in Portland while my truck was in Hood River.
What?
Yeah. We're gonna get into that for our next episode.
Good times.
Yes, but I spent an extra 3 days in Portland with Nick and his wife and their extraordinarily extroverted, almost 3-year-old. Wow. And you know what? I understand why Seattle and Portland are the U.S. metro areas with the highest psych hospital admission rates in the country.
Yeah.
Because the fucking sun never shows up. And it drizzles 3 times a day.
Yep.
And I was by the end of 3 days in Portland, I was like, "Holy fuck! I need to see the sun."
Bold of you
in the desert
to assume that it stops drizzling at some point.
It sometimes sort of does. But
yeah, for about 10 seconds here or there. Good
God, the lack of sunshine and the lack of dry weather in the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with just winters getting short days here in Utah during the winter, I deal with some of that seasonal affective shit where I have to be very aware and kind of stay on top of it.
Yep.
Living in Portland, I would be dealing with that year round. I would have to go back on an SSRI if I lived in Portland or Seattle.
I grew up in Grays Harbor. We moved there when I was 7, and I graduated at 18 and left, and haven't been back more than twice since. And you can go literally weeks without seeing the sun.
I was born in the desert, man. I cannot fucking do it.
Dude, 8 weeks, 9 weeks without sunshine.
I don't say this hyperbolically. I might kill myself.
Okay, I grew up in the same general area where Kurt Cobain grew up. It's not surprising.
Well, especially when you're dating Courtney Love, who's the one who pulled the trigger, anyways. Although, Dave, that reminds me of an old joke of poor taste.
I think I know this one. Go on.
What was the last thing that went through Kurt Cobain's mind?
Oh, it's a slightly different one. What was the last thing that went through Kurt Cobain's mind?
His fucking teeth.
Yep. Yeah. You know what color Kurt Cobain's eyes were?
On the wall?
No, they're blue. One blue that way and the other one blue that way. Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Sorry, guys. This is the shit we laugh at.
Man, I probably was chronically depressed as a teenager. You just
probably
know, because so was everybody else.
That's valid. For what I've done well, you know what I have done well in this, dragging my children along. Hey, you're my assistant today.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't actually say bitch to them. I just think it in my head and chuckle slightly.
Yeah.
Look,
they're not actual apprentices.
No, I don't have to be mean to them.
Right.
God. Wow, that's dark. Then again, I used the last thing that went through his mind was a bullet. Well, technically it was a load of buckshot as a serious line in a story. Yeah, well, that's why you're here. You're our people.
That's a great line. Well, that's a fantastic line.
I mean, for technical correctness, which is of course the best variety of correct, it should be a load of buckshot. But we won't split projectiles here.
Actually,
that's suitably dark. I approve. But what I've done is building up the kids in this, and where they're like, oh, I did so bad at this. I'm like, dude, it's the first time you've done it. Like like my boy today who was helping me with drywall. The last couple of small sheets we had to put up around corners and stuff, I finally had him cut it, measure and cut it all himself, as opposed to me doing it to be faster. And he's like, my cut's pretty wonky because the method I use, you use the drywall T-square, you set it where it is, and you use a razor blade to score it along that line. If you're not practiced at it, your blade tends to wander. You tend to let the square wander. He's like, my cut's all like squiggly. I was like, okay. This is the first time you've done that.
Yeah.
In your life. The first time that I did that, I was 2 years younger than you. So I've been doing this for 27 years. You've been doing it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But kid, what is the first step to being good at something? And he finally, after the many times I posed this question to him, he goes, being bad at it. I said, yep. Yeah. I said, you know what? And this is fucking drywall. All of these joints are going to get mud and tape anyways. So if the cut's a little squiggly, it's not a big deal. It's going to get covered up. The important part is you did it and the piece fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's going to be a little bit of a gap between sheets of drywall.
And
precisely to allow for such. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But even when they make mistakes of not making a big deal out, you're like, oh, well, yeah, you know what, you cut that a half inch short. You misread the measuring tape. That was 3/8, not 7/8. Right. Okay. Oh well, then throw that stud aside. We'll use it for blocking later. Grab another one. Let's measure it right. Not a big deal.
You get to introduce them to the idea of wastage. You get to say, hey, this is literally the process that every professional framing crew goes through, because they've all got a couple of apprentices who cut a couple of studs short the first couple of times they do it. It's going to happen every time. You don't want to try to you don't cover it up. You don't try to use it when you shouldn't, and you shouldn't. Yep. We got it for blocking. You can use it for a rafter. Like there's tons of options. And there's going to be some wastage. You have a couple of pieces you have to throw away. Oh, tough shit. Yeah. It's going to go in the firewood pile, and we'll roast marshmallows on it next week. It's why you order dimensional lumber by the pallet load.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, well, actually my oldest boy is not at all interested in carpentry. I taught him to weld 2 weeks ago.
That's super cool.
We welded. We literally, this welding project was welding some 3/8 rod into the inside of 3/4 inch angle iron that I then attached some 1.5 inch PVC to make fishing rod holders.
Oh, there you go.
Because I'm decided during the summer I'm mostly chasing carp and catfish because I can't get to predatory game fish without a boat, and I'm not buying a boat anytime soon. So we're shooting for the Utah state records for channel catfish and common carp. And nice. I have the rods and reels for it, and I needed some heavy duty rod holders. So we made 8 of them. And this kid who claims to hate the heat, he hates any temperature above 50 degrees, was in my shop that was 95 degrees, wearing a welding jacket and a mask and heavy gloves, and welding shit for 8 hours straight, and was happy as a pig in shit for all of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he hit flow state and didn't care about, didn't notice the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, he's the most severely ADHD kid I've ever met. So when he hits that, it's like nothing else exists. You have to remind him to drink water or consider eating food.
Or maybe use the bathroom.
Yes. Actually, in years past, that has actually been a problem. Not so much now. But this kid, holy shit, put a MIG torch in his hand and some metal. He will entertain himself until you make him stop.
Dude, you know, there's several lucrative careers that can result from that kind of focus.
And yeah, his welds that day, granted mine are not much better because I've done very little welding in a long, long time. They kind of look like bird shits. Yeah. But for this application, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And now I was going to build him a loft bed out of red oak, and we were going to ebonize it, turn it almost black.
Mm-hmm.
We're now going to be building his loft bed out of square steel tubing because he wants to weld his own bed together.
You know,
if that's not a win, I don't know what the fuck is.
That's pretty good.
Because this is a kid who will happily sit and play video games for 14 hours straight. And then when reminded, oh yeah, I'll go eat, and then I'll shower, and then I'll go to bed, and then I'll get up and start playing Minecraft again.
I mean, in fairness, there's some actually fairly lucrative careers that result from playing Minecraft for 14 hours a day too.
The percentages are low, though.
They really are.
I mean, but
and pipe layers have
hey, we both procreated. We're pipe layers.
Fair. That's a point. That's a point. Look, ag welding is a heck of a career if you can deal with it.
Yeah. Let's see. I need to deal with my ostomy bag. So, Dave, I'm going to leave you to monologue for a minute about the joys of moving into a house that's not really completely livable yet, but still better than Navy temporary housing.
It's mildly bad.
But I'll be right back.
Yeah, do that thing. So first off, I am going to highly recommend that nobody get flooded out. It has been the kind of experience that I really don't wish on anybody. We have managed to come out of this one in a healthier place financially and emotionally than we have any rights to have done. Our house is a mess. It is absolutely chaotic right now. I mentioned that the range is sitting about 6 feet away in the living room because we haven't built the island yet. We've got 2 of the 3 cabinets for that. I haven't put the pony wall together. I need to build a pony wall out of 2x6s to then attach to the floor, but that hasn't happened yet. And I can't drill the hole through the floor to pull the range wire up and wire that to the receptacle so that it's legal and code until we've got that built. And I can't build that until I've got the rest of the cabinets installed. And the cabinets can't get installed because I haven't been able to take the time to cut the cutouts for the sink plumbing yet, because there's a hole in the floor immediately under the sink cabinet that goes down as almost certainly was intended as an access to the crawl space there, but it needs a plug. Right now it's got a sheet of OSB oriented strand board, for those not in the know, that is just a chunk of siding, and we don't have that yet because I have 3 kids and an active duty spouse, and I have not kicked my own butt to get that happening. Boom. Thanks, guys. Living out in the country, you end up dealing with this kind of thing a lot. I have half the house that I need to flip the breakers on and wire in receptacles with new wiring, and then go through and deal with the light switches because we're swapping from the old school ones to the Decora ones because that's what my wife likes. My wife likes the better. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Brian, I was mentioning that the island doesn't get to be built because I need to build a pony wall out of 2x6s so that I can drill the hole in the floor to pull the 50 amp range wire up the 6 gauge, I think, something like that. Did you mute? I can't hear you. Doobie-doo-doo. Magic. Glorious. You know, technology. God bless. I swear I didn't touch anything.
Okay, how about now?
Hey, there you are.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck that was.
I'm gonna blame the fireworks.
Okay, that's why my dogs are distressed and are all in a pile on top of my wife's legs right now.
Yeah, my Kitty, my dog, my 90-pound dog named Kitty. It's true. We named her because it was funny that way. Is noticing but not freaking out yet. We'll see what happens. But I can't build that pony wall until we get the rest of the cabinets, the lower cabinets installed behind it, behind the island. I can't get those installed because I have to build the plug, a hatch basically, because there's a hole cut in the floor there that just it's a direct access to the crawl space, and I have to.
You don't want squirrels inside your cabinets?
Look, I live in the country. I'm already dealing with mice, and have been since we moved in, basically, and scorpions. I wish I could.
Texas.
Because Texas. I wish I could get the scorpions and the mice to fight. I would stream that.
Dude, live stream it and make money off of it.
Right? No, technically, Kitty is short for. Okay, let me remember this. Katarina Levicula Kilberhar Honig. First of her name.
Christ. And meanwhile, I named one of my dogs Seymour Asses.
Yes. Seymour's a sweetheart.
Although he barks at everybody because he's anxious as fuck.
He is. Yeah.
Oh, that is getting better with my youngest daughter's intensive training on him.
Not terribly surprising, honestly.
No, good. The kid amazes me.
Dude, there are people who actually find that thing that they do that they're good at, that they want to do, and it's amazing. And I look at the people and go, "How?
How did you figure this out at 16 years old? I'm 43.
How do you keep doing anything for longer than about 3 weeks without getting bored?"
So I don't have that problem. I go 5 to 10 years.
Turns out I've been having that problem my entire life.
Yes. And yet you were surprised. I mean, went, duh, when you're like, I'm going to get myself evaluated for ADHD.
Yeah,
and
that's actually
like, fucking Dave, we've been telling you this for 15 goddamn years.
That's actually pretty high on the list. Well, see, but everybody else got to do it first. And that was important.
I'm not ADHD.
No, you're not. You're fine.
I'm granted, my other best friend and my wife are both psychiatrists who are like, no, you're not neurotypical. You're just unclassified neurodivergent of some sort.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that you can stand living with the rest of us and find it like happy making if you're not some variation of weird neurodivergence that also functions in normal society like some kind of fucking psycho.
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, but caffeine affects me normally. It doesn't calm me down.
See, I can't tell if it's caffeine that calms me down or the ritual of making the caffeine.
Okay. That has long been my argument on people talking about nicotine addiction.
Right.
Is that the ritual of the smoke break is actually more addictive than the nicotine.
Yes. Nicotine itself is almost entirely non-addictive, according to most of the literature, most of the most recent literature.
However, like working a collar job where you're inside the office and you have your at 2.5 hours, you can go outside for 15 minutes and smoke a cigarette or two. I have maintained that is actually the more addictive thing because it becomes associated with stopping working, taking a moment, and relaxing than the actual cigarette itself, which is why I've long told people, hey, non-smokers deserve smoke breaks too.
Yeah, I
have every right to say, hey, I need to take a quick break and go outside and think about not work for 15 or 20 minutes. And that is, in fact, healthy for you. And
when I was active duty, I took smoke breaks. I didn't smoke. I walked out with the friends of mine who did smoke, and I stood there upwind because I don't particularly like inhaling cigarette smoke. But it was a chance to talk about stuff that was not work related and was not classified and was not absolutely boring. Which, incidentally, classified the vast majority of classified information
is boring as fuck.
It is incredibly dull.
100%.
Not
that I've ever had a security clearance, but I also know.
Yeah, you've talked to a number of people who have.
Yeah. Okay, so changing direction a little bit.
Yes.
See, this is why I was like, after five weeks of not actually being able to sit down together, we just need to have a catch-up episode because this is what it was going to be regardless.
Chaos. It was just going to be chaotic, and bowing to that means that we will be able to move past that and do other things next week.
Yes. But comment from much earlier when we started in on our over an hour of questions 3. Fuck.
Dude.
Harryman7727 says, thank you. I'm appreciating the podcast on both the entertainment front and the I'm going to need this advice if I ever become a father front too. I've had a concept kind of marinating in my brain that I want to throw out to you guys and to Dave of doing an occasional roundtable of new or prospective dads.
Yeah.
Bring like 3 guys on who have recently had their first kid, are expecting their first kid, or maybe in the case of our fan here, hoping at one point to become a dad.
Right.
Of just what worries you guys about this prospect?
Yes.
What is going through your head now that you have a 6-month-old baby and you're going, oh, holy fuck, I'm responsible for a human life.
I say at 6 months, almost certainly nothing because there hasn't been enough sleep to generate thought. But yeah.
Kitty Barkmore. Honestly, Kitty Barkmore would make more sense.
Yeah. Look, we're weird. I have never.
We've never shied away from that.
Yeah.
Why did I just lose the illumination on my keyboard? That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other comment here. Makes sense. I tend to shop for about 15 minutes unless I'm very intentional. Like take a shot.
Yeah.
Use my 15-minute retail health thing to take off my work apron and walk around for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is something I told my employees for years is, hey, non-smokers deserve smoke breaks too.
Yep.
Just because somebody is starting to get little nicotine fits and needs to go outside and quickly smoke 3 cigarettes doesn't mean that you shouldn't go take 15 minutes and go, hell, walk around the fucking parking lot. Go out and touch some grass. Text back and forth with a friend, significant other. That is actually I think a vital element of self-care is just being able to say, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes here and do something that is not what is pissing me off right now.
Yep.
or what is just demanding all of my time and attention right now. I'm going to let my mind wander, and that's a big thing. So yeah, I would. Okay, there we go. We've gotten our go ahead here. Roundtable sounds fun, dude. I'm going to be messaging you on YouTube. And guy who lives across the street and one door down from me has a 6-month-old baby.
Ooh.
He's a engine mechanic for Delta Airlines.
Dang.
Which, hell, I almost want to be like, dude, I want to bring you on, just talk about your career path. How did you get there? Because jet engine, honestly, when I went and enlisted in the Air Force, jet engine mechanic was at the top of my list. Right after EOD, because I kind of wanted to get blown up.
See, I kind of wanted to blow things up, but as soon as I took an eye exam, they said, no nukes, no bombs. And I said, I hate you all.
Oh, and speaking of nukes, I just sent a message over to John Correa of Active Self-Protection.
Okay.
Because, God, I followed him on Facebook for years. The guy is a former pastor, now full-time, works as expert witness in self-defense cases, and Active Self-Protection is all about evaluating use of force and critiquing it online. And okay. John regularly has quite unconventional thoughts on marriage and family and how to make that work that are really insightful.
Cool.
So I've sent a message out to him asking him if he would please come on the show, because that will help expand our audience. And also John's a fantastic guy. Of the 3 people I think of, other than Dave here, who I think of as actually living their Christian ideals, John's at the top of it, right below Dave.
Dude, thanks.
And the point isn't that you're perfect. The point is that you are active and intentional in attempting to live your values and apply them in a manner that would be acceptable to Jesus as I read him in the New Testament.
I must be doing something right that I don't see.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. Because honestly, Dave, you're at the top of the list here of people who actually live their faith, and also don't try to shove it down everybody's throats.
Yeah, that one irritates the hell out of me, regardless of where it comes from.
Even if they're from your same congregation, they're annoying as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But John is probably number 2 on my list of people who I think of who actively live and attempt to embody their values while also acknowledging the shortcomings. Okay. I'm hoping to bring him on at the end of this month, or possibly into next month if he's willing. I mean, he's had some very unconventional takes. Like he posted a photo of his wife replacing their garbage disposal, and he's like, "Look, I'm mechanically inept. This is not my thing. This is her thing. And you know what? The fact that she's the one who's doing the plumbing repairs around the house, well, I'm going, I don't have no idea what the fuck you're doing, but I'm happy that you're doing it. Does not diminish the fact that I am, does not diminish at all from my masculinity." Yeah. Which I think people like me who have this extensive skill set to the point of which you can be given something, be like, well, God, never done that before, but I can figure it out.
Right.
A lot of times that gets, that whole, I have this massive skill set I've built by being weird for the last 30 years makes me more of a man, because I can figure out how to fix damn near anything is a load of shit. It's the growth part and the knowing where you're good and where you're not that actually makes you like an effective man. And so I want to bring in some of that perspective from John.
I like that idea. Well, that's all.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he says. He may be like, grow your following a bit more,
which is fair.
I think it's totally fair.
Yeah,
we're averaging about 30 views per full episode. our shorts are our good shorts do 1,000 to 1,500 views. The ones that the algorithm doesn't like do a couple hundred.
Yeah.
We're small.
Yep.
Based on the metrics I've been able to see in our niche of kind of marketing got to men in their 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
We are in they call it the quiet growth phase, and generally can expect to see significant monetary remuneration in about 3 years if we can stay consistent.
Okay.
Shit,
Yep.
I have to spend 2 hours a week talking with one of my best friends who I don't get to see in person.
No. Oh no.
Eddie, don't throw me in that briar patch.
Bro.
Right?
Yeah.
God, I wish Disney had not purged that from their archives.
Yeah, you can still find it. It's out there in the wild somewhere.
I about 10 years ago pirated a torrent of all Disney classics from that time up to that year.
Yeah.
And so in my Plex library, I've got about a dozen films that Disney has in the last 10 years suppressed. So I have Song of the South. I have the weird Donald Duck Merry Melodies stuff.
Okay.
Of Donald Duck doing stuff with Latin music that today would be straight up cultural appropriation, and how dare you mock this? I don't think it was actually mocking. I don't know. I am so out of touch with the woke side of things right now.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah. Dude,
yeah, you have to have grown up watching Song of the South to get Don't Throw Me in That Briar Patch. But yeah, don't threaten me with a good time.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
My kids are Zoomers.
God, we moved off base and back into the house, and I've completely lost touch with what's going on. Like, I have no idea what's going on in the world right now.
Let's say we've come to like 4 different peace agreements with Iran that they've broken within 36 hours, and then we've bombed the shit out of something again.
Because it's Iran and they can't suppress the IRGC. Because they just can't. They don't have anything to do it with.
There's been a ton of impactful Supreme Court rulings in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, including some that I'm
not a fan of.
We're not going to go into because we don't talk politics here.
Yeah, that's what I do on the Reasonable Person podcast.
Right.
Which actually will be going on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Exciting.
We have a loose concept of a special episode for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Holy cats! That man.
I feel really bad that I haven't ginned up like something massive for this, because I really should have. But also, most holidays we don't do very much for.
Dude, what if you just get a bucket of ditch water and throw a bunch of tea in it? That feels appropriate.
I've got 2 pork shoulders that are going in the smoker. I have no idea who the fuck's going to eat them.
See, that's a good one. I like that.
I think eating especially after all the stuff that we've seen from the World Cup, I think eating copious amounts of meat is a sufficient flex on our European brethren.
We went to when you were at Libertycon. For those who are unaware, Libertycon is a literary science fiction and fantasy convention that happens yearly in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
In years past, it was limited to 500 attendees, then 750, and for this year, 1,000 attendees.
And
it is like a family.
They did pretty darn well, I thought. The con suite typically has beer on tap and 3 meals a day that they consider, they will take donations and tips, but they consider part of your ticket. This is the South they want to make sure you is well fed. But did you go to the City Diner?
I love the City Diner in Chattanooga.
Okay, you heard that the
pie is to die for.
Oh my gosh, the cakes are about a foot tall.
Yes, they are.
And the cheesecakes are at least a foot across. These things are 4 to 5 inches thick. They have the millionaire, or no, it's $1 million cake, which is a layer of flourless chocolate cake, so like a chocolate torte kind of thing, and a layer of cheesecake and a layer of chocolate cake on top of that, and the whole thing is coated in ganache. I will put it this way. My family of 5 got 2 pieces of cake, and we still have not finished all of it. It's the kind of thing that a junior enlisted personnel would happily eat over the course of a weekend. These things are so intense. But the old location was right by the convention center at the Days Inn. The Days Inn is no longer the Days Inn. It's now the Hotel Beau, and has something else there. They've now moved the City Diner has actually moved down Broad Street. It's probably about 3/4 of a mile from the convention hotel, which in Chattanooga in the summer is a guaranteed you're going to break a sweat walking there or back.
Absolutely.
Because of the humidity and the temperature. But we actually got there the Sunday evening and ended up sitting next to a group of World Cup travelers.
Oh God. The Libertycon folks are a special breed of well, I'm going to go to mom. Well, our collective adoptive mother, yes. Sarah Hoyt of USAians.
Yep. People who consider yes.
Dude, you are so our people. One of my goals to get to Libertycon next year and must accept the challenge of the $1 million cake. And then says where my stomach is where black holes, abysses, voids, and bottomless pits go to get lost.
Yeah.
You know what? If I weren't concerned with staying far, far away from type 2 diabetes and, like hepatorenal syndrome and stuff with the whole liver transplant thing, I am by natural inclination also a bottomless pit. I have to ruthlessly control my intake in order to not die.
Yes, there was a table full of at least the gent we interacted with was very clearly Irish, like from Ireland, and I can't tell if his table mates were punking him or if they genuinely didn't know any better. Apparently, this was about their 3rd trip back to the City Diner since they'd been in Chattanooga, which I can appreciate.
Hell yeah!
Look! It's good old-fashioned American diner food in substantial proportions.
City Diner is fucking fantastic.
It is.
That's all there is to it.
The coffee's decent. Coming from me as a coffee snob, I will happily sit there and drink 3 or 4 cups of that diner coffee. They have immense portions. If you go away hungry, is because you did it
or a cock.
Yeah, basically. But
the City Diner is what Waffle House aspires to be.
Pretty much. There's a City Diner, actually. There was when I was living there in Honolulu, down at the Ala Moana Center, almost to Waikiki. It is one of those bizarre things where you go, huh? Okay, sure.
I'm happy with this, but I don't understand it.
Yes, but the Irish gent ordered a Michelob Ultra and was disappointed with his choice because
naturally
he drinks better stuff coming out of the ditch, I imagine. But after some chatting, my wife told him a couple of beer jokes that he thought was hilarious. And it came out that his surname and my wife's maiden name are the same. And so he's probably a cousin of some sort.
Yeah.
But it was delightful to hang out with some Euro folk who were in the States for the World Cup. It was a great piece of our trip, and I highly recommend it for anybody who gets the opportunity.
Wow, we just had something come in on chat from Kick.
Is that a thing that we can report?
I'm going to find out. Somebody just in chat randomly put in randomly put in that they did something reprehensible to a 12-year-old girl, and I was unaware that we had listeners in Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah, no, like
okay. Kick's AI mod is actively deleting these messages as they appear. They're still showing up in our chat window. We're not going to show them.
No.
But I am going to see what I can report to the FBI here, because I have a serious problem with child predators.
Yeah.
But
this is
immediately ban this person from Kick. Wow. That was not on my list of things I expected to have happen during today's live stream.
Right? Actually Afghanistan, or just by attitude? Because it's
just by attitude.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Again, this is me shitting on Pashtuns. Sorry. You guys suck.
Well, if you have a reprehensible barbaric culture, you should do your best to not be part of that.
Yeah.
Come be a real human being with the civilized folks.
Yeah. Come to the United States, become an American.
Yep.
Love that.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those dumb things. In diversity is our strength. Yes, if you actually want to become one of us.
Yeah.
We will happily take the best parts of your food, of your hospitality culture. We will happily adopt random bits of religion and folklore as our own.
Music styles. We love to incorporate those.
Yes. Oh, dude, I need to see. I really hope that Bloodywood is going to be playing Salt Lake this year. Speaking of unholy combinations of
that's the Hindu metal.
That is the metal band that is based out of Delhi that incorporates elements of Indian and particularly Punjab folk music into deathcore. They are fantastic. I really need to see them live.
Yeah, I actually do enjoy listening to them. A lot of ragey, screamy metal is not high on my I want to hear this regularly, but those guys are tons of fun.
Oh, they are so good.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I think we've been through our 5 weeks of chaos. I've been running Dad Boot Camp. Dave's been moving back into a house that is 3/4 complete. I mean, we had 2 weeks we were going to do podcast, and Dave couldn't find his camera and microphone.
Because when you spend a few days packing up everything in an apartment that you've accumulated over a year and move it all in the course of a few days, you kind of go, where's the thing? I can't find the thing.
Yeah, I literally sat here ready to go, and Dave's like, I can't find my microphone or my camera right now.
I've spent half an hour looking, and if we try to do this with the native equipment on my laptop, it's going to
suck.
It's going to be a real pain in the backside. So let's not do that.
Yes, we understand. America, it is a melting pot, not a tossed salad. And that's before we go into Gen Z definitions of things.
Just freaking assimilate. Look, it makes life easier on everybody.
Well, just become part of society. We love
Yeah.
you. Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly. I love food of all kinds.
Yes.
I love experiencing new food. I love learning to cook new food. I love adopting little bits of various languages all over the place.
It's English. It's a tradition.
It is. English is the language that sits in back alleys and mugs other languages for random verbs and adverbs.
Yeah.
And then says, these are mine now.
Yeah. It was the language developed by Norman Knights to hit on Saxon barmaids.
Right, because redheads are a universal weakness.
That's fair.
Yeah. Redheads are a universal weakness. And let's be honest, it wasn't just barmaids.
No. Nope. Speaking of assimilation, often by
procreation.
I'm going to say contract because that's way less problematic than marry me or I'll burn your family's holdings to the ground.
To the ground.
Yeah.
Which just reminded me of a song by the very strange German power metal band Powerwolf.
Powerwolf. Those guys are weird, man.
They are weird as hell. The title of the
catchy songs, though. Dang.
The title of the song that you just brought to mind is "Resurrection by Erection."
Yeah, that one's
and
weird.
It's weird as hell, but it's catchy. I'm quite certain my mother-in-law would not approve.
No,
but she's now a recognized Catholic scholar. She actually had a book that was to be published in October that University of Notre Dame, because we're in America and we don't pronounce things correctly, said no. We need this. We need this published in August because we need 1,200 copies for classes that we've added to the fall schedule. They just got home from a trip to Rome because she had 2 days of lectures to give to various peoples at the Vatican. And oh, hey, you can stay in a suite at this castle for a week while you guys are here.
Darn, man.
Yeah, no, like my mother-in-law, who is obviously super Catholic and is actually now a recognized scholar within the Catholic world in spite of being a woman, takes my whole a-religious thing as whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, you're good to my daughter. You're an amazing dad to my grandchildren, and I adore you. And you know what? We all have different paths to Jesus.
Theologically, I have some pretty strong beliefs about how that's all supposed to work, and I actually pray pretty heavily contra those expectations. And trust that things will work out in ways that I cannot encompass because
your understanding is less than that of the being that created the entire universe.
Bingo.
Yeah. I have zero problem with the notion that I just am incapable of understanding some of reality.
Yeah. The older I get, the more comfortable I am with that idea, actually.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, one of those things that has taught me a lot about that is arguing with my children.
Yes. When they're completely free of the assumptions that you've made for your entire life, and they go, well, what about, and you go, shit.
Or just, look, I've explained the entire process to you. I've demonstrated it for you. I've explained what the negative consequences of not following through on this process. You've even agreed that I am older, I have much more experience, and I am much more likely to be right in this. And yet you still refuse to encompass this.
Smart children are a blessing and a curse.
Are they not? They are a gift to my developing humility.
Leave it to Dave to say it perfectly. But so next week we're going to talk traveling with children.
I just did some of that. Honestly, this is one I have. As I told Brian, I have opinions. We have been,
which I said sounds rather ominous.
Right. Well, that's fair. We have done road trips in the multiple thousands of miles.
Yep.
With all of our kids. And that's not counting the multiple thousands of miles of road trips that I took when I was their age and younger.
Yep.
I have lots of ideas and lots of thoughts and some pretty strongly held opinions.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we will not have Dr. Nick participating, talk about his accidental extra 3 weeks in India this year.
This time we could probably work something out for another time.
He says that his schedule will start opening up in December. And the first episode I'm planning to do with him, we're going to be discussing functional eating disorders.
Ooh.
Because this is something he is a subject matter expert on, and something that I have dealt with for years and years in the form of ARFID. But there are a whole bunch of recognized eating disorders that go beyond anorexia and bulimia. Yeah. And they can be extraordinarily challenging as a parent, as I can tell you. And so we're going to go to one of the world's top experts in functional eating disorders to talk about that. You know, what do you do when your kid will literally only eat 3 things? And in what ways is that actually legitimate and not just them being a shithead?
Right. Yeah. Because if you understand the reason a thing is happening, it makes it easier to endure.
Yes.
If you cannot change it, it makes it far easier to endure.
Yeah, I can tell you early on in this marriage, my kid with ARFID sitting down in front of, honestly, to give myself credit, a fucking fantastic meal, and sitting there, I'm not touching any of that.
Yeah.
Was an incredibly frustrating. God, he pissed me off. And you know what? There's about a dozen things he will reliably eat. And understanding the psychology behind that and why he is the way he is, and understanding that it's not a matter of him being picky or thinking the food is awful, but that there's a whole lot that plays into that. We're going to deep dive on that with one of the world's foremost experts.
I am looking forward to that. Something fierce. That's going to be exciting.
Yes. Instead of talking about his extra 3 weeks in India because the airspace got shut down by the United States Navy and Air Force.
You know, on the one hand, I feel a certain amount of professional pride involved in that, but on the other hand, it's that the fact that we can basically do that anywhere, anyone we feel like it is does warm the cockles just a little bit.
It's also kind of concerning.
Yeah.
But also, John Paul Jones would be so fucking proud.
God. Oh man,
the original pirate.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna commandeer a ship, sail it to England, sack and loot a couple of towns, steal another ship, and
well, I told you what we're adding to Reginald the Rattel on my calf that my daughter did. The Serapis flag and the quote, "Sir, I have not yet begun to fight," because that basically encompasses my life.
Yep.
But yeah, so and possibly in the future we'll be able to bring Nick on as a recurrent guest rather than a co-host, so that he can divorce himself a little bit from, like my opinions about Pashtuns, as he's working in academic medicine, and I don't want to torpedo his career by my insensitive opinions. But right now we're looking at December before he has any time. I was really hoping to have him shit, I can't. I was gonna say I was really excited to have him as a third, but in modern culture, I can't use that term that way. It becomes really awkward.
Oh, right. Right. I forget about that.
Yeah. Well, but honestly, the intent here was for three of us, but that has not worked out because he's a very busy and important doctor. One of basically two child and adolescent psychiatrists who regularly service kids on Medicaid in the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Which, as you may imagine, is a massive, massive population. I think he's working currently in 3 different clinics.
He
works a lot. He works a lot.
And this is kind of the issue with the vast majority of one's friend circle being highly competent individuals is they end up getting very busy.
Because
people discover that they're highly competent and give them work.
Yeah, between everything I'm doing, I'm most of the time I'm working basically 7 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I have to force myself to take time, go fishing once a week.
Yeah.
Bring my kids in and let things go slower because I would happily kill myself working, to be perfectly frank. But I'm going to put out some feelers and see if in the next 6 or 8 weeks we can't set up a roundtable of new and prospective dads.
Excellent.
And at some point we may put together a panel of like 3 women to talk about positive masculinity from their perspective.
Sure.
Because our perspective and theirs, I think, have some serious divides. May have some surprising congruencies.
Mildly dangerous, especially if you tap Mrs. Dave for that particular one, because she also has very strongly held opinions on such things.
It's one of the reasons I love her so much. But Mrs. Dave is on my short list.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of now professional content creators who I may reach out to and see if they're willing to talk about positive masculinity as opposed to toxic masculinity.
Brilliant.
Because I think that in modern discourse, there's a whole bunch of attention that is focused on the negative aspects of what is generally considered traditional masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that there is enough attention put on the positive aspects of what we commonly accept as masculinity.
Yep.
And I would like to get some input from some ladies on that subject, which is going to be weird because it's going to be them leading the discussion instead of us. I'll probably have to bite my tongue a couple of times to not just monologue to fill time because I'm compelled to do that anyways. But yeah, guys, we are nowhere near short on topics, and we are intending through the rest of the summer to bring in a couple of interesting guests. Chris Denote, of course, of Raconteur Press, who is heading up their Boys Adventure series.
Yep.
Chris, I don't know. God, I've known him for like 10 years. I don't really know a ton of his background. I know he's a retired Air Force colonel.
He spent a number of years bouncing up and down the East Coast to various things, doing stuff. I know he spent time at the Puzzle Palace. I know they got shellacked with one of the hurricanes when they were in Tampa. But man, Chris is a great guy. Chris is a lot of fun. That'll be a fun episode.
Yeah, and you guys can fully expect there's going to be more content about reading and about books because, frankly, that's how Dave and Nick and I even met, was actually from communities around books that we loved.
I said it a lot at Libertycon. I really aspire to write again. life.
Dave, I am looking forward to the day that you can put the time into writing fiction again.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be fun when we get to that point. I have to remember how to have fun when writing. Living chaos makes that harder.
Speaking of writing,
Mm-hmm.
we have launched the Unhinged Dad Substack. Thus far, we've got all the podcast episodes get cross-posted there.
Yep.
There are 2 articles. One is a welcome. One was my preface for our episode on traveling with children that was supposed to air 5 weeks ago, which included my free road trip checklist as a person with 3 degrees in automotive technology and way too much time spent under the hood and chassis of cars for how to try and make sure that you don't have a shitty road trip experience. And next week, we're going to cover how, in spite of that, I still sort of did due to car issues. But Dave, how do you feel about a release schedule of Sunday and Wednesday? I'll do Sunday, you do Wednesday, of 1 article a week on Substack.
I can make that happen. I find as many folks who struggle with ADD in one form or another do that clearly defined deadlines actually are very helpful for managed output.
Yeah. So Dave will probably be posting his articles at 11:57 on Tuesday nights. But that is going to be a thing. God knows what you're going to get. It's going to be whatever is on our mind. It may be relevant to the topic of the week. It may be a recipe.
You know, I like to cook.
So do I.
Mm-hmm. You do it well.
So do you.
I get few complaints.
Yeah, just depending on what's going on week to week, you're going to get 2 articles a week here on out for the most part. Our lives are crazy. You know that. And if you've been listening for any amount of time, you know that is very much the case. So it'll be something possibly related to this week's topic, possibly some sort of non sequitur, and it may just be a, hey guys, here's something I made for dinner this week, and that's all that I have for you.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty random.
I promise nothing beyond that. You'll get what is going on in our lives and our minds.
Yeah. So I will drop an article on Substack every Sunday. Dave will drop one on Wednesday nights. Let's see. What is the actual URL there? Profile. Okay, it is substack.com/@unhingeddads_podcast. And, as we grow an audience in the future, we may diversify into paid subscriptions with exclusive articles and other stuff, depending on what you guys say that what you want, say that you want from us on Substack. We're not being shy about the fact that we are working to be able to monetize this into some level of income.
Look,
you hate us for that, fuck off. Look, I'm putting 20 to 30 hours a week into this show and into creating consistent content for you guys. Dave is dedicating an evening of every week to it.
Putting almost 3 hours in every week, man.
And you know what? You're homeschooling your kids. I'm not.
Yeah.
That requires a significant amount of time and dedication.
And as we have said, when it comes to the whole thing, it's not a competition.
No, we are, we are working on this, and we're working a growth strategy based on where we have time.
Yep.
I'm able to go hop on the computer at 9 o'clock at night and spend a couple of hours working on editing videos and producing stuff.
On the other hand, I have a not quite 2-year-old who has occasionally curious attitudes towards Sleep.
Yeah. Try being 46 with a 2-year-old in the house.
It's not too bad. It's less bad when I'm consistently working out.
Dude, I'm 43 and every now and then people go to my wife and I and they're like, "Are you guys gonna have a kid of your own?" And for one, fuck no, we already have 6.
Yeah, 6.
But also, I'm 43 years old. I'm already 22 years post liver transplant. Let's see, I'm a little over 9 years now with an ileostomy after Crohn's disease almost killed me again.
Yep.
I'm going to count myself extraordinarily lucky to see my youngest stepchild graduate from high school in 7 years.
Yeah.
The year that I turned 50. I'm sure as hell not bringing another small child into this. Also, I don't have the energy for a toddler in my mid-40s. Dave's crazy.
It's not too bad. I mean, our kids keep getting more attractive, more charming, and more intelligent. It's the kind of thing where you're almost tempted to have more of them.
Yes, we adore the Davelings.
That's the other thing, is that their job has always been to make us more friends and make us more friends more easily.
They have a fan club.
Very good at their job.
Especially your daughter.
Oh my gosh. She's my bold and fearless child.
She is a weapon of mass, not destruction, but something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's good people.
Oh, dude. Says, oof, I'm 43 too, and I want children. I'm gonna have to prepare. Dude, God, you know what? Get in the habit of working out and like maintaining your sleep hygiene.
Yep.
Because in your mid-40s with a infant in the house, God,
you're going to be exhausted. And the better you can handle your self-care, the less of an impact that's actually going to have. Speaking from real experience, and it's going to be tough.
It is, but you are not as bad as our friend Curtis and his husband, who are both in their early 60s and currently have 3 children under the age of 5.
Wow, I have not been keeping up with Curtis.
Yeah, with Curtis and Paul, they are both. I think they're 62 and 64,
something like
and
that.
They have 3 children and a dog, all under the age of 5.
And frankly, just having obscene amounts of resources from being former tech bros does not make up for the fact that you're just not going to get as much sleep as you need.
You know what? Those guys have been religious about working out and taking care of themselves for years. Yeah. They're probably better prepared physically for it than I am at 43.
No, that's fair.
But I look at that and I go, God, you're willingly having children in your early 60s and intending to raise them. And I'm just like,
that's seriously ballsy. Like I'm
going to go fishing in my 60s. If I'm alive, which is highly doubtful.
I'm going to have.
Yep, that comment sends it up.
Yeah, legit. My youngest is going to be a teenager when I turn 60.
My youngest will graduate high school the year I turn 50.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I would do it differently if I could. Because I really like my kids as they are.
I like your kids. I like my kids most of the time.
Yeah. And also I feel like there's a reason that historically most humans have had offspring relatively young, because you have the energy to deal with it.
There are arguments for and against. I'll maintain that both my wife and I had children too young. We were not prepared for that, and that has definitely had negative effects on our children. That in our now maturity, we are doing our damnedest to mitigate.
Yeah.
Also helps, it doesn't help that we were frankly terrible in partner selection in our early 20s, or in her case, late teens.
I'm glad you guys admit to that part, because it's relatively obvious to those who on the outsides of those particular relationships.
Hey, we were so obviously bad at partner selection that we were forced into an arranged marriage we didn't know about.
Yeah.
That was orchestrated by three of our closest friends, who were just like, if we put these two in the same room, the sparks are going to fly, and for once we won't have to deal with them being a shit show in their personal lives.
Right? Yeah, and it's been way more of a sitcom than a dysfunctional family drama since then.
Yeah, it's just I'll take that. Oh, comment here. That means mastering good sleep habits and not staying up for the FOMO of being able to do stuff. Although I do know that when you become a parent, the children come first.
Look, man, I can put the book down anytime I want to. I just need to finish this next chapter.
Said by thousands of Royal Road addicts.
Yeah.
Which our guest on the last episode's got his start on Royal Road.
Dude, I found one that's got like 3,000 pages. I'm going to be reading that one for at least a week and a half.
Okay, yeah. Mallory, our guest from last week, it was ironic that the day before he was put in touch with me, when I asked Ian for a sacrificial lamb, I had come up on my Kindle recommendations a 6-book omnibus of his first series that was released.
Sweet.
That was over 3,000 pages, and I will finish it tonight. It's an early to mid Discworld book. There are no chapters.
Yeah,
I cannot begin to quantify the influence that Sir Terry Pratchett has had on my outlook on life.
I will tell you, the Sam Vimes Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness comes up not infrequently in conversation.
Sergeant Vimes is in some ways my muse.
Right.
Which is a little scary. Of course, there's also a bit of Granny Weatherwax thrown in there, which is even more scary.
Yeah.
God, we could do a 4-hour episode on the influence of Discworld.
Oh, we absolutely could.
We're not going to yet. We're not that desperate for ideas.
But we'll get around to that one.
Probably. After we're making money off of this.
Right. There could be an entire series where we just go through the books and discuss the relationship aspects. There's some great stuff in those books.
There is.
It's so freaking human.
I think the best bit I ever took from it, second to Sergeant Vimes' theory of boots as to economics, was it came from the three witches interacting with the preacher. Said that sin, the only sin, is to treat people as things. And God, if you could internalize that by any rational religious system, you'll come out pretty okay.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, that is something I have kind of incorporated and tried to live my life around. Is the true sin is to treat people as things. If you can remember people as people, and as flawed beings.
One of our favorite pastimes is actually working to be the best interaction for retail and customer service folk that we engage with.
Yes.
For that day. Because their job sucks.
It does. I've done it.
It absolutely sucks. And if you can treat them like a human being and help to put a smile on their face, you have changed the entire vector of their day.
Yes. I go out of my way to be polite and to be kind to them. Read their name tag and call them by name and tell them thank you. Because it sucks. Oh shoot, we got more comments.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to the eventual Discworld episode. Granny Weatherwax and Sam Vines are favorite characters of mine. And if I can make written humor and satire that is an appreciable fraction of Sir Terry's level, I will be doing quite well.
If I can get few percent of, I
could get to 2 to 3% of the level of insight and skill with words of Sir Terry Pratchett, I will be extraordinarily proud of myself.
Yep.
And yes, retail hell is no joke. It's the truth. My middle daughter currently works at a DSW in a strip mall. She deals with she deals with upper middle class, middle-aged women who are absolute harridans every day.
That sucks.
And you know what? She actually copes with it better than I do. I can tell you, I came from the trades into the white collar world when I finally finished my industrial management degree. And there are things you learn bringing a blue collar attitude into a white collar workplace.
Oh dear.
It generally involves lots of visits with HR and having explained to you that you are considered difficult and that your sense of humor is not appropriate to the workplace in any way.
Is this akin to bringing military tradition and attitudes into civilian workplaces?
It is absolutely the exact same thing. Whether you're bringing a veteran into a typical white collar workplace, and the things that they expect and the things that they say offhand that send people into such fits that they need to go home because they are so upset. Same thing happens if you've come from construction and auto shops and walk into an office, say with the largest mortgage insurance provider in the United States, where something that you don't even think of actually literally sends somebody crying in the washroom for half an hour and results in a talk with HR because you hurt their feelings so severely. You're like, well, shit, I was trying to be nice to them.
Maybe they need to grow the fuck up.
HR does not appreciate being told, well, tell them to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
I was actually being complimentary. What the shit are you talking about? I mean, honestly, I could do a whole series of bringing a blue collar attitude into a white collar workplace. And the things that you learn about how sheltered people have been their entire lives.
Yeah.
Where fortunately I was competent enough that I managed to not get fired for telling my new vice president of manufacturing for a multinational firm to go fuck off in the corner and color while the adults actually deal with the problem. Had I not in the previous 9 months pulled 15% of our annual revenue out of my ass and added it to the bottom sheet, I'd have been fired that day.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's bringing a blue collar attitude into a white collar workplace. You hurt people's feelings and you're like, I hurt their feeling. I was being nice. I was giving them a compliment and they went crying.
Bottom line doesn't care about their feelings.
Also, yeah, he was being an idiot and I told him he was being an idiot.
Oh, shit, doesn't.
You told him he was being an idiot in front of 50 people, all of whom are his subordinates.
Look, if you don't think if you think that they don't know that he's being an idiot, you've got another thing coming.
Yeah, but I made him look bad and I almost got fired for that. But then I retired a month later, which may be the reason they didn't fire me. I don't know. But I also pulled $11 million out of revenue out of thin air from a company that was doing 75 million a year in revenue and cleared their entire COVID manufacturing backlog in 3 months.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, having machines that work is a serious boon. I mean, hell,
True.
I increased their labor efficiency by 30% just by getting their machines working and doing preventative maintenance.
Yeah, if you have the chance to do that, that's definitely a thing to undertake.
But yes, let me tell you, this guy came in. I was working for a multinational firm based in Spain that works in the pool and spa industry. And this guy came from Geldwen's windows and doors division. And in the 12 years that I was running apartments, I may have installed many, many, many pre-hung Geldwen doors. And he was talking about quality issues, which we had quality issues that primarily went back to the fact that for the specific division I was working for, we made motorized pool covers. Every single order is custom. There are no standard sizes of residential pools. Every order is custom made.
Yep.
He was talking about quality issues. And I went and I looked at him. I said, "You came from Geldwen?" That's interesting because in installing your fucking pre-hung doors that you're claiming you had such great quality, I had a reject rate of 30%. The Home Depot hated me because I'd be like, "Look, this door's not square.
Yeah.
This door frame is literally cockeyed by 12 degrees. I cannot install this. There are not enough shims in the fucking world."
Yeah.
I said, "I had a 30% reject rate, so you're full of shit." And
Yeah,
he got really angry, and I was like, "Look, all you want to do is talk about shit that you don't understand because you're still not understanding that we are not making anything to a standard, to a specific standard. Every order's custom. So why don't you fuck off into the corner there and go color while the adults actually try to deal with the issue here? Because you're not helping."
That's funny.
He was like, "I will have your job today." And I said, "You couldn't do my job if there were 4 of you." And I was told that I should not hurt his feelings, but also I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is almost as good as the opening to Monster Hunter International, where I got to live the American dream and throw my jackass of a boss out of a 4th-story window.
Yep.
I survived that one, possibly because my retirement date was already set in stone.
Nice.
Also, possibly because I was good enough. Who knows? But the last 5 weeks of Dad Chaos, we've been running boot camp. Dave's been moving back into his house, which isn't actually ready for habitation, but is still a damn sight better than Navy temporary housing.
Yeah. No, that's legit.
I have been forcing my kids into the mountains to go touch grass intimately.
Yeah. I have been desperately helping my children work on learning to be flexible.
Yep. Passing on skills, teaching.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, when things aren't functioning, when you don't have a routine, one of the best things you can do is just be gracious, because things are going to be hard and weird.
Yep. And we all know that neurodivergent people thrive on routine. And when it is literally impossible, that is when it really becomes a challenge to be the adult in the room.
Yep. And you don't want to. You really don't want to. Because it would feel so good to just scream and yell a bit.
Yeah, indulge your inner 12-year-old, kick something across the room and make everybody feel awful for everything.
When the actual 12-year-old is doing it, why can't you?
Or when the 17-year-old is doing it. Why can't you yell back at them?
And the answer is because it doesn't help.
Yep. And that does nothing to help you become a better person and a better dad from day to day. You learn the restraint. you learn to regulate yourself, because by God, you're the adult in the room, even if it feels like that. It really should not be the case. And there must be some sort of adultier adult you can turn to be the adult in the room. But in fact, you're actually closer to Social Security now than you are to getting your driver's license. And you are the motherfucking adult.
Oh, shut up. My
I
wife
know.
and I,
It sucks.
Mrs. Dave and I looked at each other the other day, literally just the other day. And we've been doing this for years, every once in a while. And we just look at each other and go, we're like adults making adults. We're the ones who make the decisions right now.
Yeah, I'm currently in the process of turning in my Nissan NV 3500 van.
Yeah.
Probably for a pair of 3rd gen Toyota RAV4s. And possibly spending no more than sales tax on it, on the entire transaction. My wife and I were going through options last night, because with kids being late teens, we don't actually need to take 12 people anywhere anymore.
No.
And so what actually works? And we're like, are we seriously talking about selling the van and then buying 2 other cars? And it being the wise financial thing? Like, that's fucking crazy.
It is frankly kind of nuts, especially because I remember the days of, wait, you have 2 cars, being an indication of not insubstantial material wealth.
And as we have the 4th driver getting his learner's permit this year, moving to 4 cars actually makes a whole ton of sense. And I'm just like,
well, we have a
this
good
is so far from my upbringing that I do not fucking grok it.
We have a good buddy who recommends having N drivers plus 1 vehicles, because then one of them can be broken and everybody can still get where they need to go.
That's one of my arguments in replacing the one high volume vehicle with 2 lower volume ones, is that we'll be able to handle me needing to repair one of them.
Yeah.
Without seriously impacting anybody's ability to get where they need to go.
Yep.
And it's like, what in the hell world are we living in? When I'm done finishing out this basement, we will be at, 2 bedrooms are about to become 1. So we'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bedrooms in this fucking house.
Salt Lake's a weird place.
Oh, dude, there was a reel I saw today. It's a local comedy guy who was having a pretend conversation with the statue of Brigham Young. It's like, I just had an argument with my wife, and I just feel terrible. And the pretend statue of Brigham Young says, well, marry your sister. It's like, what? No, it was just an argument. I'm not getting divorced. He's like, I didn't say get divorced. Marry your sister. Because then they're going to get into competition over who you love more and who who loves you more, and they're not going to argue with you anymore. And I went, I know the family stories of my great-great-grandfather who tried that, and it worked out horribly for him.
Right.
But yeah, Utah's a strange place.
Yeah, we've been traveling into and through the Utah I-15 corridor for about
almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, 20 years.
Damn.
Your guys' anniversary is next year. 20 years.
But yeah, and the getting to know the culture has been a real fascination.
Yeah, most people use the term mindfuck.
Man, but I've been reading science fiction since I was 7.
You're a Heinlein fan. You've got a flexible mind,
right? Look, I'm not saying I want to be in Stranger in a Strange Land, but I get some of those perspectives a little bit.
Yeah, it's a strange place.
It is.
I've been trying to get out of here for 20 years and keep finding myself stuck here. I've just given up. The universe says, no, you live in Utah, deal with it.
You know?
I would really like to live someplace that doesn't have winter, like Florida or parts of Texas.
I don't hate winter.
I do.
Then I lived in a place at Western Washington doesn't.
You have quasi winter.
It's quasi winter. It really is.
It's just enough for the deciduous trees to lose their leaves for 2 months.
Right. It's a fake winter because most of the time it's 40s and 50s and raining.
I hate that. I can't do it.
Oh, I hate it too, but it's
you grew up in it.
Snow.
But excuse me.
Yeah,
that's my beer saying hello. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm uncouth. Deal with it. I have 3 teenage boys living in my house.
That look, burp and fart.
Not that my girls are any better. In fact, they're worse.
Fart jokes are the height of humor.
Yeah, just look at Shakespeare.
It's true. Oh my gosh. Look, if you're if there is a puerile interpretation of a Shakespeare line, you best take it because that was how it was written.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you can come up with a variation of a dick joke that is not already part of Shakespeare,
yeah,
I will be impressed because I think he covered all possible aspects.
Oh yes.
But let's see. So we've gone through our 5 weeks of chaos, and hopefully we are back to, well, now we have a production schedule. As scary as that is, we're slowly becoming slightly more professional. You can find everything we're doing on www.unhingedadspod.com or .org if you want to be strange, but it just forwards to the other URL. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and now Substack, where you will be getting some element of something going on in our minds twice a week, once from Dave, one from me. And you will find us here on YouTube, BitChute. We are now also live on Substack every week. And when our follower count gets there, also live on Instagram and Facebook just about every Thursday.
Yeah.
At 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you're finding something of value of this, we're hoping that we are entertaining. We're hoping that we are helpful. Give us a like and follow everywhere. There is the Facebook group, which, oh hell, what is it called offhand?
Oh, right.
Yes. The Facebook group is private. You can apply to join. It is Unhinged Dads, Real Talk on Raising Kids.
There you go.
Currently has 9 members, and I am the only regularly active person on there. But we are trying to build a community of dads or people who would like to be dads or people who are kind of retired from being dads who are willing to sit and acknowledge the actual just beautiful chaos of trying to run a household. Raw, unfinished, unpolished takes on being dads and how we actually work day to day to try to learn how to take care of ourselves, be better people, better partners, and better dads, because every single one of us can always stand to improve a little bit more. There's that Six Sigma shit from my industrial background.
Hey.
Continuous improvement from day to day. Acknowledge and take accountability for your mistakes, and then you move forward and you make brand new and exciting mistakes so that you can also apologize for those.
Yep.
And if nothing else, your kid's therapist will thank you for the continuous income. Although, if you do really well, they might not actually need one.
It's true.
My parents don't know anything about that. I've been in weekly therapy for like a year and a half now, and it's really helpful. But guys, we're going to wrap that up. Shit, we are almost at 3 hours. Thanks for hanging out with us. This was literally just a ramble fest of what happens when you give me, Dave, and a couple of beers and trying to catch up. But this has been episode 19 of the Unhinged Dads podcast, and we will catch you guys next week where we are discussing traveling with children, specifically road trips. Well, and actually you're going to have some input from me, having done transatlantic trips with children ranging from infants and toddlers up to tweens.
A few years ago, we did, when the older two were much smaller, we flew from Washington State to Connecticut. That was
I did Salt Lake City to Los Angeles, to Taiwan, to Manila with a 4-month-old and a 22-month-old.
Say, 4 months old. 4 months isn't too bad. They're sack of potatoes with opinions. It's when they're mobile that things get more interesting.
Mobile and capable of communicating.
Yeah.
No, actually, that trip we actually drove from Salt Lake to St. George, stayed at my grandmother's house, took a shuttle into Las Vegas, flew Las Vegas to Honolulu, spent almost 12 hours at the Honolulu airport where they wouldn't let us stay inside. We had to try and nap outside. Went Honolulu to Manila with a 4-month-old and a 22-month-old. It was...
Ew.
No. Yeah, going LA to Taiwan to Manila was with a that was 2016. So I was with an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And that one was actually even worse.
Yeah, I believe it.
But so we're going to talk all kinds of things about traveling with your children come next week. And in the next week, we'll come up with a topic for the week after that. And then we'll have Krista Note, and we're going to be talking boys' adventure fiction.
Yes.
And of course, how he managed to raise functional humans while also a staff rank officer in the United States Air Force, which actually I don't remember what Chris did in the Air Force. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I am genuinely not certain.
Yeah, see, he looks similar to another friend of mine who is also a retired colonel who was an F-16 pilot. So I actually sometimes get the two of them confused and seeing stuff as I scroll by. So I'm gonna have to try and straighten out my my internal there with him. But Chris is a fantastic guy. That's going to be an interesting interview, and we're going to be talking more about books for you and for your kids, particularly your boys.
Yes.
Because everybody should be reading. Everybody should be reading. In fact, as we learned last week with Mallory, the number one indicator of a person's capacity with language and their ability to effectively express themselves is how much fiction they read.
Wow. I'm doing okay.
Yes. You're extraordinarily literate, and that is because you read escapist fiction.
Yep.
I mean, half of it doesn't, you're reading on Royal Road. Half of it doesn't even qualify as pulp.
It's
trash, Dave.
Dude, I can actually, my threshold of readability is surprisingly inclusive. I'll put it that way.
Well, you read on Royal Road. I read on Kindle Unlimited a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can both be accused of having extraordinarily low standards.
Kindle Unlimited is for the Royal Road stories that have developed enough of a following to get self-published.
Yeah, to get paid.
Yeah.
But we're wrapping this one up. It is 11 p.m. I'm going to be awake in 5.5 hours to go fishing, because I'm trying to do things for myself, and also I'm a glutton for punishment, and getting up really early to go fishing satisfies both of those.
It's true.
Only one of them's healthy, but you've got to have balance in life.
Yeah.
So we will catch you guys next week as we talk about traveling with children, which it's going to be a roller coaster. because I know my experiences. I know Dave's experiences, and it's going to be wild. So until next week, we will catch you guys next. Or Peace. Whatever. I don't know. I didn't come up with a good conclusion there. So you know what? Just fuck off. I'll go to bed. It's late.
It is late. Go sleep. I'm gonna sleep.
Oh wait. Oh,
we have an outro.
I have to hit the disclaimer.
Yes, do that.
All right, that is it for tonight's episode. Thank you for joining us. Quick reminder, all opinions expressed here are solely those of the individual speakers, hosts, and guests alike, and do not represent the views of any affiliated person, organization, company, sponsor, or other entity. This show is provided for entertainment purposes only. Nothing discussed is professional advice of any kind. Always consult a qualified professional and use your own best judgment before acting on anything we've talked about. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next episode.